but we are in the middle of a totalitarian fascist coup in this country. And when we don't call it that, when we soft pedal it, when we don't have a real discussion about it.
Why would the government stop Trump? Isn't he the head of the government? You're saying the government would be too small to stop Trump. If Trump's the president, why would the government, the bureaucracy, be actively trying to stop him?
Because they want to shredding the Constitution and creating an authoritarian dictatorship. That's why.
Okay.
And we're already
so you're suggesting
dictatorship.
So you're suggesting that the unelected bureaucracy should try to stop the elected president.
No, the people of this country, some who work in the government, should uphold the Constitution.
Are you suggesting that the president is not the commander-in-chief of the military?
I am suggesting that the president is going to put in charge somebody who is going to contravene the Constitution. And at some near point, this conversation will look very silly for you because it will be obvious. And right now, you're gaslighting. But when we get to the actual rubber of the road of this, it will be clear.
I'm interested in this conversation. He's going to put someone in charge who will contravene the Constitution. Like who? What do you mean by that? The president is in charge of the military, is he not? You said he's going to put someone in charge of the military?
The president is in charge of the military. That is how it works.
This is important conversation.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm letting you have.
I don't think he has done anything in the first month that is outside the bounds of the power vested in him by the Constitution. He was elected president. We, according to the Constitution, vest all executive authority in a president. And the concept that the military should be an independent agency or that the bureaucracy should resist the political leadership of this government is extraordinarily dangerous.
That's literally not what we said.
I'm just repeating back to you your own words.
I did not say resist.
As you all know, for decades, a group of DC-based journalists, the White House Correspondents Association, has long dictated which journalists get to ask questions of the President of the United States in these most intimate spaces. Not anymore.
This reminds me of how the Kremlin took over its own press pool and made sure that only compliant journalists were given access.
Okay, can we just address this dictator business? I'm going to quote from some statistics put together. So our old friend Chris Cillizza, who calculated that in the first month of the Trump administration, the president took 1,009 questions. Hardly dictatorial behavior. Same stat for Joe Biden. 141. And I would remind you all that in 2023, the Biden administration revoked the hard passes of 442 journalists. And at the time, the White House Correspondents Association took, quote, a non-committal stance. So if you're worried about transparency, Trump is being far more transparent than any recent administration.
I am proud to announce that we are going to give the power back to the people who read your papers, who watch your television shows, and who listen to your radio stations. Moving forward, the White House press pool will be determined by the White House press team. Legacy outlets who have participated in the press pool for decades will still be allowed to join, fear not, but we will also be offering the privilege to well-deserving outlets who have never been allowed to share in this awesome responsibility.
There are, these questions about Fox's, as Fox radicalizes and as it becomes even more and more of a political tool. Zerwick, you wrote a column recently for The Sun about this, saying Fox should be viewed as a political tool. And that raises a question. Should it be a part of the White House press pool? Should it be afforded the privileges that come with news gathering? Even though they do have some news reporters at the White House, you're saying they're primarily a political tool. So should that be reassessed, Zerwick?
Listen, I really do. I think it's a discussion we need to have. Look,
I would also think it might be controversial. People might think, how can you possibly compare what happened in Germany in World War II to what's going on here in the United States?
Well, we're talking about the death of a constitutional republic. That's what happened in Germany in 1933, 1934. And we're seeing today that you've got an administration in Washington that's ignoring court orders.
And no good business operator would take the slash and burn approach DOJ is taking. People's Social Security benefits are also at risk. Their ability to see a doctor is at stake. Their ability to put kids in daycare is at stake. The longer DOJ is allowed to rain chaos on the American people, the stronger the backlash will become.
Of the way things are, the Democrats are wrong by talking about resistance because the public doesn't want resistance. They simply want these things done efficiently, effectively, and with accountability.
To empathize with people who say he's not doing enough, they're not doing enough. Every time she gave him that opportunity, as a gifted interviewer that she is, instead of saying, yeah, I can get why people feel that way about what we're doing. Nope, we're doing this. Nope, nope, we don't need any more steel in our spine.
Well, the problem is it's having a consequence on real people's lives. We had 15 people today talk about their experiences, many of them Trump voters, veterans saying that they voted for Trump just 2 months ago. They're fired to doing jobs like helping other veterans. One person who worked at the Department of Agriculture said that he's expecting a new baby, and now it doesn't know how he's going to take care of his family. And they appealed to President Trump, as did I, to have a reinstatement, because many of these people were doing good work.
Well, to be clear, I think that email perhaps was misinterpreted as a performance review, but actually it was a pulse check review. Do you have a pulse? Do you have a pulse and 2 neurons? So if you have a pulse and 2 neurons, you can reply to an email. This is, I think not a high bar, is what I'm saying. This is should be anyone could accomplish this, but what we are trying to get to the bottom of is we think there are a number of people on the government payroll who are dead, which is probably why they can't respond, and some people who are not real people, like they're literally fictional individuals that are collecting paychecks. Well, somebody's collecting paychecks on a fictional individual, so we're just literally trying to figure out: are these people real? Are they alive? And can they write an email?
But we are in the middle of a totalitarian fascist coup in this country. And when we don't call it that, when we soft pedal it, when we don't have a real discussion about it. At least here, I could say those words, we can have that discussion, but you will not see those words in the New York Times or the Washington Post.
Jeff, if we were being honest, there should be a breaking news banner on CNN and MSNBC all day long. We are in dictatorship right now.
George Soros is actually
there are more information sources than ever. We have the most democratized media that we've ever had. We have more people than ever that have access to disseminating information. It's not a bad thing.
One person at a time.
It's not a bad thing. And look, he has one paper. There's lots of newspapers. There's lots of ways to get information right now. I think what's going on here is...
So are you agreeing? I mean, I think that what they're saying over here is that Jeff Bezos is actually moving the paper ideologically in a particular direction. It sounds like you're saying that that is what he's doing because he's trying to create a niche for the Washington Post.
What I read, yes, I agree that he's trying to carve out a niche for that opinion page, which may not be a terrible business idea, and I don't know what direction he's going to move it. But these 2 big topics are vital topics.
It's ridiculous. It's not a niche at all.
It's not a bad thing.
We're seeing that Americans now are looking forward to perhaps a recession.
Can I respond to some of this? I've sat here patiently for this long speech. So it seems to me that Democrats are taking a 3-pronged approach at attacking Donald Trump. One is openly rooting for the failure of the United States by wish-casting a recession, which is just an insane political strategy. Number 2, wanting to pin their entire political future on keeping government as large or larger than it is now. And number 3, continuing to claim that mass deportations or that getting the border under control is somehow a bad policy idea for the United States. I wholeheartedly hope that Maria is appointed to run the Democratic midterm strategy, because if you're rooting for recession, for illegal immigration, and for a larger government,